I spent the same amount of years here. That's crazy. You're way younger than me, but I spent the same amount of years here.
Welcome to Cinematic, the place where we do breakdowns and help you to understand how to get into the television and film industry. You want to be a writer, director, producer, actor, sound editor, PA, you name it. You need to be right here in the Cinematic. But do me a favor, hit that like button, that sub button, and that bell button. Let's get it.
My name is Leroy Barnes. I'm from New York. I live in LA now, and I'm an archival producer.
What the freak is an archival producer? And what do they even do?
An archival producer is a producer, it could be on documentaries, feature films, commercials. They're a producer that is in charge of researching and licensing third-party materials that go into documentaries. So any footage or stills that aren't shot by the documentary team, older stuff, all of that type of stuff has to get researched, licensed, and that's how it all goes into a documentary. And an archival producer is in charge of all of that.
Today we're going to be talking to Leroy Barnes, and we're going to be discussing his journey of becoming a PA to an archival producer on track to making over 6 figures a year. There's so many different positions in the film and television industry. How is it that you can make 6 figures a year doing something that most people don't even know about? Let's dive in.
A person who grew up right where you grew up at. I stole a car from right there. I went to Waverly Street from this mountain.
Mr. Barnes for sure has some dope credits under his belt. His resume consists of working on docs for HBO, DMX, companies like Jigsaw, Mass Appeal, and even Google. But it didn't always start there. The real question is, how did we get here? And how can you do it yourself?
I have an uncle in the industry, in the television industry as an entertainment lawyer. And when I was younger, he would take us to a lot of events, a lot of premieres and stuff like that. And I think as a kid, just being a consumer, watching a lot of TV, stuff like that, you want to be a part of it. You see the Disney Channel shows and the Nickelodeon shows and stuff like that, all that stuff like that. And yeah, I wanted to be a part of that. So I think like when I was a kid, that's what that was. And then when I got to college, I started dabbling in film while I was dancing. And yeah, I think the love changed for me then, where I wanted to, I guess, take it more seriously and, find a career in film. Yeah, when I first got into the industry, I wanted to be an editor. And then I quickly found out that it was a lot harder to become an editor than I thought. And I went through the ropes and ended up becoming an archival producer. I didn't even know that was a role until I actually became one. So first role, I was a PA, and I got paid, I think it was $180 over 12 hours. I think that was the standard rate at that time, if I'm not mistaken. I think now it's $210 over 12, but then it was $180. And that was my first paid gig, and that was through the same company that I interned with, so that was pretty cool. They had brought me on to PA. So I PA'd off and on with other roles for about a year and a half. As I was PAing, I was also researching and stuff like that. PAing is a in the field job, and researching is in the office. So I was able to do them simultaneously. So yeah, when I started PAing, I did that for about a year and a half. I landed my first PA job, I think, by just showing up and working hard, being kind, taking initiative. That's huge. If I could give any advice on being a good PA, it really would be taking initiative, knowing how to stay out the way, and just being attentive. If you could do those 3 things very well, you'll get PA jobs all the time.
Do you need help booking your first acting gig? Are you trying to license a film to streaming platforms and make some money? Maybe you just want to get your foot in the door and become a PA on set. Or maybe you want to be like me and be a director. Either way it goes, you need to head over to the cinemaaddict.com. Check out our online courses, because right now students around the world are getting the tools that they need to chase after their dreams. That could be you, but you haven't clicked the link. So I need you to go click the link right now. Stop sleeping on your dreams and go get it.
So after I PA'd, I became a full-time researcher. So I would just come into the office, and when we'd have subjects that we would have lined up for interviews, we would research their, milestones, major achievements, life stories, stuff like that. And you feed that to producers who would ultimately, they'll flesh that out and have more direct questions that they'll ask that subject. The research it entails, I think, what you probably think it does, right? Like reading the articles, like going and finding the videos on the YouTube, and going to the library or whatever, finding people who know people and having those conversations. Really, it gets gritty. I think how research starts normally is it's really straightforward though, right? Like you're reading articles, you're finding the books and the blog stuff, and then your searches start to get more and more refined. So after researcher, I became a post PA, and basically I guess what that entails is all the dailies that come in, or all the footage that comes in from shoots when the team goes out and they get stuff. I facilitate bringing all that stuff in to be organized for AEs, assistant editors, and then they'll in turn organize that stuff for editors. So yeah, I'm like the first stop shop to organizing footage and stuff when it comes in, and building spreadsheets out and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just basically like the file organizer in a sense as an office PA. And then we went from post PA, I started running that shit. You feel me? No, I'm playing, let me stop.
I'm definitely keeping that.
I'm sorry. I couldn't stay.
You couldn't do it.
I couldn't stay like this forever. After post PA, I actually I kind of leapfrogged into archival producing, and I think that happened out of necessity. We had a larger team, and we kind of went over budget. We went over budget, and team dwindled down, and who was left had to wear a lot of hats. And a lot of that had to do with licensing, archival licensing, music licensing, stuff like that. Then I got into archival producing like that. Or I make around anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000 a week.
So you went from $200 a day as a PA to $2,000 as a week as an archival producer.
Yes.
And when you first got in the industry, you had no idea that this even existed.
No, when I first got in the industry, I didn't know all of the roles that were associated with making a film, and I definitely didn't know that an archival producer was as prominent of a role that it is. I definitely didn't know that we make as much as we do. And yeah, I feel like if I would have known that, it probably would have been something I would have more directly pursued, but yeah, I just didn't know. The advice I would give to someone looking to be an archival producer, attention to detail is very important. And if you have good people skills, that'll take you a very long way. A lot of what I do is build relationships with people. That comes towards the back end when we're licensing and stuff like that. But a lot of what I do is connecting with people and figuring out their stories and stuff like that. So if you're a good people person, by all means, you will be a good archival producer. And staying organized. A lot of projects have a lot of archival that goes into them, a lot of footage, a lot of stills, and if you can keep all of those things organized, you'll be in good shape. Favorite project I've worked on was the DMX project for HBO, and why is because that project it had a lot of passion behind it. I learned so much about a figure that I think when you're inundated in hip hop, you don't get a chance to learn about in an intimate setting. and just learning so much about DMX in a way that was just so close. It almost felt like he became my uncle at the end of doing that doc. I think the advice I would give to my younger self is to trust your ability. I feel like I accomplished things, and then after the fact, that's when I started believing in myself. And I feel like if I would have believed in myself a little bit more when I was younger, I probably would have taken a bit more risk, and I probably would have been able to contribute more to my teams in a more helpful way. 5 years from now, I'm be laid up on some island, feel me, feet is gonna be out, probably gonna be a little ashy, but you know, it ain't gonna be no thing but a chicken wing on a string. 5 years from now, I will be directing. I will be directing documentaries. I don't know what I'm gonna be directing, but I'm gonna be directing a documentary.
Thanks so much for watching the video today. We truly appreciate it. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button, sub button, and bell button. Then go ahead and watch one of the next videos over here. You know what I'm saying? We'll see you next time.